Then Patanjali says a very important thing, using counter thoughts when negative thoughts arise. Vitarka-bādhane pratipraks-a-bhāvanam. When disturbed by negative thoughts that contradict the yamas and niyamas, cultivate the opposite thoughts. Because the yamas and niyamas, it's not very sensational. You are fasting. Tapas is a form of tapas is fasting, but you would want to eat something. So that is why the stories in the Puranas, they are there for a reason, because it tells you, okay, if you do this and this, if you violate, then later you will suffer. So um, vitarka means negative deviant thoughts. So we saw also it's vitarka samadhi. It's meaning gross. So here it's used in the context of negative deviant thoughts. Vitarka-bādhane, bādhanam means disturbed by. So even in colloquial South Indian languages, badam illa they'll say, which means it doesn't matter. Don't so it doesn't disturb. Bhadanam means to be disturbed by. Then pratipaksha means already told you it's opposite, right? So pratipaksha means developing the opposite. Um, Bhavanam means cultivation of the opposite thought. So Swami Hariharananda adds a very practical psychological dimension. The mind, he says, runs in grooves, and thoughts travel on these well-formed grooves. The deeper the groove, the easier it is to travel. When a situation arises, somebody insults you, the mind slides into the old groove of anger. Pratipraksha-bhāvanam is deliberate act of digging a new groove. He wants that initially this feels artificial. You may feel angry, but you force yourself to think, okay, person, just a poor person, he is suffering, that's why he or she acted like that. He states this is repetition. That's why it's called bhavana, means cultivation. Bhavana means cultivation is key. If you keep summoning the opposite thought, eventually the old groove fills up and the new groove, the patience or the truth, becomes the path of least resistance. Okay. The classic story is the story of Draupadi forgiving um, Ashwatthama. Okay. Remember, Sumitra, you asked a question, what if we have this anger towards this somebody you love, all that? How do we work on this? So I said at that time, vitarka-bādhane pratipraks-a-bhāvanam, we'll come to that. So this is the story. This is the most poignant example of pratipraks-a-bhāvanam, overcoming the impulse of violence with the counter thought of compassion. The story of Draupadi forgiving Ashwatthama in the Mahabharata. Sauptika Parva, or it's also there in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Vitarka, the impulse for revenge. At the end of the Kurukshetra war, Ashwatthama was very bitter because his father, Dronacharya, had been killed. He wanted to take revenge, but he was not strong enough to fight the Pandavas. So only 3 people escape, Kripa, Kritavarma, and Ashwatthama. So they are resting under a tree at night and sleeping. Ashwatthama is restless, and he was looking up. At that time, there was a family of crows in the tree. And oh, it's already 7:49. Okay, I'll go through the story. There's a family of crows in the tree, and the owl was watching. It tried to hunt the crows during dusk, but it was not successful because the crows warded off the attack. Now the owl saw the crows sleeping, and it launches a surprise attack, kills the father and mother crow, and destroys all the babies. So the destruction of the babies gave Ashwatthama an idea. So he said, okay, I was not able to I can't kill the Pandavas, they're very strong, but somehow, and even their kids, they're strong. They have 5 kids. So Draupadi had 5 kids, one with each of the Pandavas. Now, when we're sleeping, I will go and kill them. So all these three, they make a plan. So Kripacharya, he's a Brahmana. He shouldn't be doing all this, but he also takes part. So Ashwatthama goes into the camp, kills all the five um, sons of Draupadi, and there are other people sleeping too, and they try to escape, but Kripa and others who were at the entrance, they kill the rest. So this is how he got his revenge. But the Pandavas were very angry, and um, Arjuna goes and captures Ashwatthama. You see Ashwatthama leaning on the ground. So Bhima was roaring, kill him, he's a child murderer. Krishna now tests Draupadi. So Krishna pokes Draupadi and says, Draupadi, of course, she is the one who's the most heartbroken because all her five kids are killed. So they leave it to Draupadi as to what kind of punishment he should get. Krishna even tells her, Draupadi, he does deserve death. So you decide what kind of death he deserves. Then Draupadi at that moment, but who's she standing next to? She's standing next to Bhagavan. So her mind was pure at that moment. Everything justified violence. But Draupadi looked at the bound, humiliated. He was a Brahmana standing before her. Instead of seeing the murderer of her sons, she forced her mind to see the opposite. She thought about the Guru Bhakti. He is the son of Dronacharya, the teacher who gave her five husbands, the skill. Empathy. Somewhere his mother Kripi, so Kripacharya and Kripi, they're brother and sisters. Kripi is married to Dronacharya. So Kripi's son, somewhere his mother Kripi is waiting for him. I know the pain of a mother crying for her son. If we kill him, Kripi will burn in the same fire of grief that I am burning in now. Why should I duplicate the suffering? So she spoke to the Pandavas, release him. Let not his mother, the wife of our Guru, weep as I am weeping. So Kripi is already heartbroken because of Dronacharya's death. Draupadi successfully applied pratipraks-a-bhāvanam. She countered the impulse of himsa with a thought of karuna, compassion. So even though Ashwatthama was eventually punished, he had a gem on his head removed, and he's the only person that Krishna curses. So Krishna curses him to wander for several thousand years. So some people say, depending on when the Kurukshetra war ended, because this happens right after the Kurukshetra war, some people say Ashwatthama is still walking amongst us. So Krishna's curse was, may you walk for a few thousand years seeing all. That is the worst thing to happen, to see destruction around you all the time for thousands of years. That way, death is a great savior. You don't have to see all that stuff that happens in the world. But Krishna curses him. May you wander for a long time, see all the decadence in the earth, in the Kali Yuga. And so that's why some people say he's still walking amongst us. So this is how Draupadi applied pratipraks-a-bhāvanam. Okay. So then using counter thoughts, how Patanjali gives an example. Vitarka himsadaya kritakarita numodita lobha krodha moha purvaka mrudumatyadi matra dukkha jnananta palatiti pratipraks-a-bhāvanam. Dukkha jnana ananta pala. So this pratipraks-a-bhāvanam is reflecting on this cultivation of the opposite. What kind of opposite? When negative thoughts like lobha, krodha, greed, anger, moha, which is delusion, all these, when greed, anger, or delusion, whether it is mridu, madhya, adimatra, which being mild, medium, or intense, whether kritakarita anumodita, whether done, caused, or approved. Negative thoughts like violence, whether done, caused, or approved, arising from greed, anger, or delusion, and being mild, medium, or intense, they result in dukkha, ajnana, ananta pala. Ananta means endless. Dukkha, ajnana is they end in pain and ignorance. What kind of pain? Endless pain and ignorance. Iti pratipraks-a-bhāvanam. When you think so, reflecting on this in this manner, you cultivate the opposite thoughts. That is why the Shastras are full of these example stories. So, Krita is direct. Krita means doing. Doing the act yourself. If I do the act myself, some people say, okay, I'm not going to slaughter animals. I'm going to just eat the slaughtered animals. That is karita, indirect, hiring or manipulating someone else to do. Or you can say, I can have a hired person to kill somebody. I'm not killing, but still it's the same sin. And we'll see a story if you have time. Anumodita is approval, silently approving or taking pleasure when someone else um, does an act. So the classic example is Dhritarashtra. Okay, so the three causes are greed, anger, delusion, lobha, krodha, moha, and the three intensities can be mild, even a mild small lie or a pinch, or a medium like a theft or a slap or adhimatra, murder or war. All these violence, acts of violence, are improper. Okay, so one has to use pratipraks-a-bhāvanam, reflecting on all this and cultivating the opposite. Bhavana is cultivation. Pratipraksha is opposite, cultivation of the opposite thought.